Paying your mortgage off early. You read the title right, guys. We are mastering mortgage freedom. Today, I want us to talk about the 5 tips that can help you pay off your 30-year mortgage super fast. I know most people, when they buy a home, they're typically doing a 30-year, mortgage. If you're new here, guys, I am Keyra Ford, your real estate cheerleader here in the DFW area, which is Dallas-Fort Worth. And I am here to help you take ownership of where you live and how you live. So if you're new here, smash that subscribe button and the notification button so that you're notified every time that I post a video. And I'm super excited. Let's get into it. We got 5 tips on how to pay your mortgage off faster than the 30 years that typical people pay their mortgage. Okay, so for the example that we're gonna use today, we're gonna use a $400,000 home that you just purchased for 5%, which would be about $20,000. Your interest rate being at about a 7%, which that's kind of on average we are right now. And your monthly amount will be about $25-28, okay? We're not gonna, calculate property taxes or home insurance and all those things because sometimes it can get very complicated. So tip number 1 is you can make an additional payment a year. I know, it's that simple. So if you decided, hey, I want to pay my monthly mortgage and then I want to pay an additional monthly mortgage towards my principal, you can do a lump sum all at once towards your principal, or this is a little bit more digestible. You can take that monthly amount, that $25.28 divided by 12, which is about $210. You'll pay your normal monthly mortgage, and then on top of that, you send in that $210 because that's additional too, but you only put it towards principal. Do not just send in the payment because they will just make it as an additional payment, and you want it to go towards principal because the interest accrues on the principal. So the lower the principal, the less interest you have to pay. And by you doing this, you will cut 6 years and 10 months off of your mortgage, which will help you pay off your mortgage in about 23 years versus that 30 years. Tip number 2, you can pay half of your mortgage an additional payment. Now this one is a little tricky because it's a lump sum. You would pay your normal mortgage of $25.28, and then you would pay an additional half of your mortgage of that $12.64 towards principal, because remember, when you do an additional payment, you want to put it towards principal, and you'll knock off about 12 years, which will help you be able to pay off your mortgage in 18 months. And I didn't say this before, but I also want to discuss, some people, if you have a lower interest rate, paying off your mortgage might not be a return on investment that you could really do, because on these extra payments, you could put that into an insurance fund. You could put that into stock, savings for long term. I will say you do want to evaluate your situation. Paying off your mortgage is going to be different for everyone. For me, my goal is to pay it off early because I want that sense of ownership. I don't have any more payments, and I also can turn my condo into a full cash cow that's sending me money each and every month when someone rents out my condo. The third tip is you can double up. So not just pay your mortgage once, you can pay it twice a month. You gotta have a lot of discipline for this. And I always say, you wanna make sure that you have an emergency fund. You wanna make sure you have, when I say emergency fund, anywhere from 3 to 6 months of expenses if you're gonna be doing doubling up. Because one thing you don't wanna do is put all your money into mortgage and then everything else you're late on, okay? Make sure you're making the best financial decision for yourself when it comes to using one of these tips. But the third tip, like I said, is to double up. And what doubling up looks like is you pay your normal mortgage, which is that $25.28, and then you put an additional $25.28 towards your principal. And that will knock off so much of your mortgage so fast. Matter of fact, it will allow you to be able to pay off your mortgage in 8 years. You heard me right, 8 years, guys. Before we jump into the 4th and 5th step, I wanna ask you guys, have you paid off your mortgage? Are you a renter? Do you want to become a homeowner? If you answer any of these questions and you're still kind of I don't know where to start, sign up for a free 15-minute, strategy session so I'm able to help you get from where you are to where you wanna be. The 4th strategy or tip is instead of doing a 30-year loan, do a 15-year loan. I mean, that's super easy, but just make sure that you're able to manage that amount, because usually if you're cutting, the amount of months that you'd be paying your mortgage, that means that you're going to be doubling up on how much you'll be paying monthly. And you want to make sure that that's comfortable for the life that you live, because you don't want to just take ownership of where you live, but you want to take ownership of how you live. Everyone wants to get into a house, but also live an abundant of a life in their house, not just get there and be like, I'm house poor, I have no furniture, all the things. Your last and fifth tip is you can pay your mortgage monthly. And I'm actually practicing this tip right now. Sometimes it makes sense for some people, sometimes it doesn't. But how this looks is, Monday through Friday, because the banks are not open on the weekends, you would be paying a certain amount, okay? And so what you would take is your mortgage divided by 20, because there's usually 4 weeks in a month. 4 times 5 is 20. You would divide that monthly amount, and whatever amount that you get, you would put that a daily transfer to be paying your mortgage on a daily basis. What this does is it makes your principal change each and every day. So you're paying less interest than you would if you were just paying once a month. And what I found out is if you do this, you can easily pay off your house in 12 years. So to me, 12 years doesn't seem as bad. And then 8 years, doubling my mortgage seems like, like I'd have to really change my lifestyle. I just don't know if that's something that I would want to do. And then the additional just one payment a year, oh my gosh, that's what so many people do when they pay off their home 6 years earlier than they would. So I know that this has brought you value, guys, and I know that you now have 5 tips on how you can master your mortgage and have freedom. Hello, who doesn't want freedom? I would love if you guys can comment below any questions that you might have additional to if I didn't answer. And also, once again, if you are wanting to take ownership of where you live and how you live and you don't know where to start, I would love to have a 15-minute consultation with you or strategy session so I can help you get to that where you want to be.